Right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Monday night. Another edition of Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped, episode 51. On tonight's show, we're going to recap the week that was for the New York Knicks. A tough one, but lots of news, trends, highlights, player of the week, and a look ahead at this week's schedule, man. So lock in with us, CP of Fanchise here. Alex Trataros, the Stratocaster on the ones and twos. Salute to all the mods. Salute to the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We are just about 2 weeks left. 12 games left, to be exact. It is grind time. It is gut check time. And it's time to check in where this team is at, man. 40-30 on the campaign. Knicks go 1-3 on the week. Not so great, but we got some stuff to talk about, man. So lock in. Here we go. Salute, salute, salute. Al, how you feeling, man? How was your weekend, bro?
You know, could have been better. Knicks could have done better, but you know, when we were last on the show talking about our predictions, we did not know that Jalen Brunson would be out. So,
yeah,
if that was the case, I would have chose differently. Yeah. But I'm here. Panic mode. Don't know what the Jets are doing with Aaron Rodgers. So, you know, just living in no man's land. Getting all the tweets from Garrett Wilson and everybody else getting me hyped. Then Garrett Wilson saying he has no idea what's going on. So then just bringing me back down on well, it's all over the place, man. My emotions are all over the place. I have no idea when Jalen Brunson's getting back. I'm in a frenzy. But hopefully this show could quell those nerves.
That's what it's here for, man. Knicks therapy, man. Look, I think at the end of the day they'll get Rodgers. It's just a matter of time. Maybe there's just some, deal. Like you have the contract situation and you have the trade parameters, right? You have two things that you kind of have to deal with. So it'll take a little bit of time, but I think it's only a matter of time before that gets ironed out and Aaron Rodgers comes to New York. Giants got them a nice linebacker pickup, so I'm happy so far with what the G-men are doing. So that is that, man, as the NFL free agency period opens up. But on to more important things, and that is the New York Knicks, man, because since the 9-game winning streak, since the double overtime victory against the Celtics, they had a letdown game against Charlotte. Didn't seem like the team had much legs. Had a 16-point lead at one time. And let Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier terrorize them to a loss. And so I thought that was a letdown game. That was a trap game. And then they go out west, take on the number 2 seed in the West, a red-hot Sacramento Kings team, the best offense in the league with a defensive coach. Go figure. And it was such a weird game because despite not having a great shooting night, Knicks were still in this game. Deep into the fourth quarter, they were still in it, and they just couldn't finish. They just couldn't finish. They could not finish in crunch time, and Sacramento was able to pull away there. The Clipper game, once again, they had a 1-point lead. They had a 1-point lead late in the third in that game, and you had the Randle issue, the Randle meltdown, and from there, between Kawhi, Paul George, the Clipper stars took over. And we already were down 1 star. And when your other stars checked out, you're not going to win that game. So the Clippers were able to run away with it. And then, luckily, you had a bounce-back night, a big night, Sunday night against the Lakers, where your 2 big players, Julius set the tone, RJ closed it, and played about as good as a game as they could play. 33 points for Julius, 30 points for RJ. You saw a sense of desperation out of this team to really get off the snide and get a win. They were coming in losing three in a row. And so you get a good win there, and you hope that you can finish the road trip 2-2 and survive the Cam Reddish revenge game. But one of the things you hope comes back is the shooting, because this team through these 4 games, they shot 26% from 3, 41% from the field overall, and a 24th in net rating. So, shooting is going to come and go. Obviously, we're losing Brunson. That's a big chunk of your efficiency and a big chunk of your offense for a team that's not overly efficient to begin with. But going into that 9-game streak, that offense was high octane, man. That was as good as we've seen that Knicks offense all year in that stretch. So they've come back a little bit, and you hope that they could regain that shooting touch, because it's going to be pivotal as they complete the season and enter into the playoffs. As of right now, if you take a look at the standings, Knicks are 40-30 in 6th place, with the Nets a couple of percentage points ahead for 5th. Knicks and Nets tied on the season series. So if by the end of 82 games these teams are tied, the Nets will get the edge. No. The Nets will get the edge if they have the better conference record. So something to pay attention to there. We just had the Miami Heat squeak out a win over the Utah Jazz. So the Knicks are now 3 games up on the Heat for the 6th spot. And those two teams have to play twice before the end of the season. So something to watch for. The Miami Heat are still alive. So those are some of the key trends from the week, man. Key observations from my perspective. How about you?
Yeah, and if you look at that conference record right now, the Knicks have a better conference record than the Brooklyn Nets. It is 28-17 for the Knicks, 26-18 for the Nets. So hopefully the Knicks can continue their strong performance against everyone in their conference. But we'll see what happens when all the chips fall, man, at the end of the season. But from this past week, if this doesn't show how important Jalen Brunson is to this team, I don't know what will. The Knicks record when Jalen Brunson misses in a complete game, they're 4-4. All right. We saw them defeat the Houston Rockets, the Boston Celtics, the Spurs, and the Lakers just recently, right? Yeah. So you look at that, and they've also lost to the Mavs, the Spurs. What were the other matches? We just lost to the Kings, and you just lost to the Clippers. So you see that it's kind of like it's a mixed bag for how this team can perform. The one thing that I can say is that this team can perform. It's not like they're a complete waste without Jalen Brunson, but with Brunson, you see just how impactful he is, because he also draws double and triple teams. It opens up for guys like Julius Randle to get single coverage. It allows other guys to get into a rhythm. So that's where we see Brunson is truly needed. And of course, the fourth quarter, cool, calm, collective nature that he is, someone who's just stoic, can get his shots off easily, draw the contact, get to the free throw line. We're missing that, because you see in these last couple of games, the Knicks are just in the Kings game. You needed somebody right there just to put you over the edge. Against the Clippers, you needed somebody right there to put you over the edge. Against the Hornets, the same thing. Yeah. Late game execution, that's the thing that you need from Brunson, man. And he's good. And he's got to rest, because that is what's going to be important in the playoffs. It's going to be a half-court game. It will come down to, the final 2 minutes, most likely, and who takes the most efficient shots, who can get to the free throw line, and who can keep their team organized. And that's what Brunson does. So hopefully he's on the mend. He's doubtful for tomorrow against the Portland Trailblazers. That's good. We shouldn't need him against the Trailblazers, especially if you don't have Dame or Grant out there. That should be a fine matchup for the Knicks. They should be able to come away with that one. But guys need to step up, dude. Guys need to step up. And maybe it's having tired legs from playing against the Boston Celtics, going to double overtime. But we just saw guys weren't playing their games. That's first and foremost. Like quickly, against I think the Kings, he didn't really attack the lane whatsoever. No. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when you watch the complete performance that he had against Boston, and he starts settling for shots, you need your guard, especially your point guard, if you're going to be filling in for Jalen Brunson, to keep attacking the teeth of the defense, to have them collapse. All right? Yeah. Next thing, can we please figure out how to get Quentin Grimes involved, man? This comes down to Grimes being aggressive, and it comes down to Thibodeau saying, you know what? My guy's cooking right now in the first quarter. Like against the Clippers, it was confusing, man. He was good in the first quarter against the Clippers, then gets one shot for the rest of the game. And that one shot came in the second quarter. Yeah, didn't hear from him. Where's Tibbs saying, yo, my guy's going. Can we please call his number out there on the court? Like, there has to be some sort of in-game awareness that we need to see from him. Mm-hmm. We need to see other guys like Grimes, even Obi. It was nice to see Obi be aggressive and attack the lane. But this is just like the battle between players who need to be aggressive And Tibbs needs to just recognize, yo, I need to get other guys involved because I don't have Brunson. It's going to take a complete team effort to stay afloat without him. So those are my big 2 takeaways from this week, man. The Knicks are not completely lost, but guys need to step up. And the head coach, Tom Thibodeau, man, he needs to be paying attention to the games and making sure when to make these in-game adjustments. Because if that's not going to happen, God forbid anything happens in the playoffs, these are the margins. This is where winning and losing on the margins occurs. It's like, all right, how do I adjust in the game? You're not going to have another game to prepare for this.
Yeah.
You will, but it's in that moment that every second counts. You know what I mean? Yeah. 82 game season. It's like, I'll go look back at the film. We'll adjust for the next game. We'll implement it then. 7-game series. You know how momentum works. Game 1, it could just shift all the way to the team. Game 2, same thing. So gotta make sure that guys rise to the occasion and Tibbs stays focused.
Absolutely, man. And you hit it on the head without Brunson, especially the first few games, Charlotte, Sacramento, we didn't get much dribble penetration, not many paint touches, and that made our offense a lot harder to get because we weren't generating easier shots. But then you saw, especially last night in the Laker game, Sunday night in the Laker game, I thought Julius, RJ, IQ all did a good job of getting aggressive, digging deep into the paint, and being able to either score from there or facilitate from there or make things happen. Just breaking down the defense and making the defense bend a little bit. Grimes, definitely want to see Grimes, number one, hit down and knock down those open threes that you get, but also get more consistent opportunities, especially with Brunson out of the lineup, because he's one of your few capable three-point shooters. I say capable because, the efficiency just hasn't been consistent. So definitely want to see him getting those touches. You're definitely right on that. But, yeah, all isn't lost. Again, it was tough to see them lose 3 in a row. I thought they might have let go of the rope a little bit going through a tough time, but it was good to see them bounce back against the Lakers. I think the bench play has been very positive from McBride. Hart did a great job on Anthony Davis last night. McBride, with McBride, it's always about his offense. Can he give you a little bit of offense in his minutes? Because the defense and the effort is going to be there. If the offense follows, those are quality minutes for McBride, and I thought he gave them that in the Laker game as well. Obi's been efficient with his limited time, so I thought that was encouraging. And then Josh Hart, man, he has just been an absolute dynamo, and we're going to go into more on his impact later in the show. But I thought just his effort getting on the offensive glass and just being a connector, glue guy on the offense was tremendous. And I thought that was a big reason for why they were in the game against Sacramento. The Clipper game, they were competitive. And the Laker game, they were able to win. I thought Josh Hart was a big reason for it, and it was way more than just about points.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. This is why a lot of teams have wanted him and why he's been traded, right, is because it's not just the scoring, right? You're probably not going to get a lot of scoring out of Josh Hart, but it's everything else, all the intangibles that won't be measured on a stat sheet outside of rebounding and assists. The intensity that he brings, diving for loose basketballs on the floor, just giving that extra hustle, jumping the passing lane, stuff like that. You see that having a guy like him and another leader, right, like Brunson, when you have somebody who's out there performing at their highest level on a nightly basis, and even if they're not feeling it, they're constantly trying to contribute in some way or fashion. I don't know how, as you as a teammate, are not rising to the same occasion because you see another brother out there fighting to stay in this game or trying to win this game. Yeah. So Josh Hart's addition to this team has just been, it's been great, man. And awesome trade.
And when you look at how the rotations go, when Josh Hart checks in, whether it's mid-second or late third, he's staying in the whole damn game. He don't come out until the quarter's over. He plays the whole thing.
I think it's safe to say that this was a trade that Tom Thibodeau, outside of Derrick Rose, approved.
Get me this guy fast. Oh, we trading Cam? Yeah, get me him fast. I love this deal. Tibbs was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about this deal. We're going to get up to Cam later because Cam Reddish had some very interesting things to say about the Knicks as well. So those were some interesting tidbits. Here is Tibbs. This was Tibbs. I want to try to find the Brunson quote from Tibbs here. Hang tight. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's see.
Quick have great chemistry in the basket. Haven't coached the game. Oh, and you got the ball and you're overhandling. And they're set. No, it's great. Like I think, we have a bunch, and I've said this, back in New York, we have a bunch of gym rats, and that's what makes this team so enjoyable to be around, to coach, to be a part of. Right? They're workers. They love being in the gym. You don't have to, beg them to come in. They come in. Right? They're there all the time, and that I know if we continue to do that, we'll improve. And so, and when your best players set the tone for that, then you're on your way. A post-up advantage, you raise, and that's one thing I didn't.
All right, so I completely lost the Brunson soundbite, but what he basically said about Jalen Brunson was that they're gonna take their time with the injury, be patient, and that he trusts the medical staff, right? So that was Tibbs on the Brunson injury. Maybe it's Saturday. It won't be tomorrow against Portland. It won't be Tuesday against Portland. But maybe Saturday, right? Because after Tuesday, they'll fly back home, get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, much needed rest. Maybe that's enough time to get back against the reigning MVP, Murray, and all those guys.
Yeah. Look, whatever time it takes for Brunson to get back healthy, take that time because he's good. Like I said earlier, he's going to be needed for this playoff run, man, because without him, it will just be a struggle when it comes down to crunch time. Mm-hmm. We already know how that goes even though this is a better roster, we just know how that will play out without someone who is just as impactful as Brunson. Mm-hmm. Honestly, Brunson's been so impactful. He should probably be getting some MVP votes, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He really should be because this team has changed completely with him at the helm. So
yeah.
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes.
Big facts.
As the Avengers say. Whatever
Big
it
facts.
takes.
Whatever it takes, man. And speaking of big-time players, Julius Randle, Al, was voted the KFTV Player of the Week, as stated by the fans. Julius, on his last 4 games, 22 points per game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, on 33% shooting, at 23% from downtown. Hey, it was a rough week. You could argue that we didn't go play. We shouldn't have went with Player of the Week. But we this is the people's show. We asked the people to vote, and they voted for Julius. So there that is. So Julius gets Player of the Week nod. Look, it started off tough. Obviously, the effort that was exerted in the Celtics game had some carryover, had some spillover effect. He himself admitted they had no legs in the Charlotte game. Sacramento game, same way. But, Laker game, he was able to redeem himself. Now, the Clipper game, it was a nightmare. He had a bad incident there, a little bit of a meltdown in the end of the third quarter. The technical foul. Look, he was getting hacked. Give him that. He was getting hit. Refs were swallowing the whistle. They were very liberal with it, and his temper got the best of him. He had to be restrained, but I thought that kind of gave the momentum to the Clippers, and ultimately they were able to win that game. So, this is what we have with our star player, man. You just hope that he's able to channel his emotions and be tougher mentally, because it's not going to get any easier. There's 12 games left in the season. Teams are really going to put their foot to the pedal. Miami Heat.
You're not getting calls in the playoffs.
You're not going to get those calls in the playoffs. As RJ even said it. It's going to be physical in the playoffs as well. So you just hope that he can make it there, both physically and mentally, to help his team, because as we saw last night in the Laker game, once he gets going, once he becomes a pace setter in the first quarter, his team's chances to win are great because he's just locked in. He's dialed in.
Yeah, and I mean, you and JD spoke about it on the post game. You played the Ty Lue clip. They're looking to take Randle out of the game, right? Whether it's being physical with him, seeing it that he'll be, if he loses cool, making sure that he has to fight a little bit more to get his shots. And, the thing that changes good players to great players, man, is the awareness of recognizing when opposing teams are going to do that to you and getting your teammates involved. So from the get-go, right? Like a good player would be like, all right, I know I can go get 20. I'm going to keep working to go get 20. And they could potentially go get 20, but did you really help your team win? That's going to be the question. A great player says, all right, they're going to double team me. They're going to try to take me off my game, all this stuff. How will I adapt? Oh, wait, Quickly's open. Let me just pass it quickly real quick. Oh, Grimes is open. Let me find him cutting baseline to go get an easy bucket. Mm-hmm. It's utilizing those double teams and making your opponent pay. That's the difference between a good player and a great player. So for Randle, he needs to understand that because he is getting double teamed because he's that good.
Yeah.
They are not going to allow him in single coverage to get to his spots and just go off. And that's going to happen in the playoffs. All right. And this is where I say, I like to see ball movement. I like to see all of that. I get everyone else involved because you're going to need everybody. It will be a complete team effort. Mm-hmm. You can't get a shot attempts for Grimes. You can't have that for everybody. Right.
Right.
The bench is going to get shorter. Yeah. But you're going to still need everybody to at least get touches on the ball and get into some sort of rhythm. So for Randle, he's got to just understand that, man. It's not going to get any easier. It'll be much more difficult, especially if you're going to be playing either the Celtics, Philly. Yeah. You're still even the Cavs, man. You still got Jared Allen out there.
Right.
You're going to have Evan Mobley.
It's going to get tough.
Those are no easy matchups. And yes, the Knicks could take them to the distance, could possibly upset the Cavs and go to the next round, but it's not going to be easy. So he needs to recognize that.
Yeah, not going to be easy at all. And here was Tibbs' response, because obviously after the meltdown against the Clippers, that was what was talked about amongst the fan base. And here was Tibbs' response to that. Oh, let me take it off mute.
You make judgments based on one game. Like he's got 70 games into the season, so sometimes we're quick to judge, and you're not looking at it in totality. You're like, okay, what has transpired over 70 games? And I try not to overreact to anything in one game. Like which way are we trending? So I always look 3, 5, 10, right? And what's going on in those sequences. And so if someone can miss shots, that's part of the game. Don't let it take away from anything else. And hey, look, we're all human. Like anyone could have a bad day. If you have a bad day, the next day you got to bounce it back and have a great day. So I thought he did that, and I thought it was great.
All right, so that was Tibbs, and boy, oh boy, for those player polls that say you don't want to play for Tom Thibodeau, he has your back, man. He has your back. That's one thing about Tibbs. He's not going to throw you under the bus. He's got Julius's back. So you got to applaud him for that. I think he had a little bit of a point there. Everybody, people have bad days. People have off nights. But you look at it in the totality of the season, the 70 games, and he's delivered. He's been present. He's been there for his team. He's been a good leader. But when things like the Clipper game happen, it takes you back to last year. And some of those incidents, there were multiple incidents last year, it takes you back. And you're like, oh, man, is this guy coming back? Right? You had Johnny Bryant go out to Dallas this past summer to get to him and say, hey, is that the teammate that you would want to play with, who you were last year? And to me, that spoke volumes. I don't think it's just people overreacting when the organization is sending a representative to you to try to get you to change your approach. I don't think it's overreacting when he seeks out, and give credit to him. I applaud him. That was an excellent thing that he did, to seek out the meditation or whatever he needed to do to channel his energy to the court. That was an incredible thing, incredible self-awareness and maturity on his part. So I don't think it's an overreaction by the fans, by people, to be concerned when those things happen. Because clearly they've been attempts, both by he and the organization, to control it. Right? So
yeah,
I think Tibbs has a point, and I think the fans or the doubters or criticizing naysayers, whatever you want to call them, I thought they had a point as well.
Absolutely, there is a point, and he even went on. You even went on SNY with Ian Begley. I think the guy's name was Joel, right? Who even talked about Randle inside the organization and how he was viewed, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the fact that we even have the Ian Begley article to say, is this the teammate you want to be? Like, we all saw it. That was the concern coming into this offseason. Was he mentally going to be prepared to handle New York once again? Was he going to have a turnaround season like he did 2 seasons ago? That's why there was the whole talks of like trade, because you still don't want somebody, if you're thinking about that, you don't want someone like that who's not considered a good teammate in the locker room, which we've now heard, right? And everyone's talking about, the chemistry on this team is different. The love for this team on is different. Mm-hmm. That's a big portion of sports. We cannot take that for granted. What goes on inside that locker room and everyone having each other's backs, that is so key for success. You cannot take that away, and you can't have somebody in there that's going to ruin it. Now, the one thing I will say is that it only happened once a season where he's really lost his cool against the Clippers. So like, for it to happen once, I'm like, why are you doing this? We've seen this in the past before. I wasn't too upset about it, because it's like, if out of one game for 70 games, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
It's if it became a pattern for the season. If we saw that again and again and again, like to close off the season, you know what I mean? Then I'd be a little bit more concerned. Then I'm like, whoa, is this guy ready for the playoffs? If it happens in the playoffs, we're going to have that conversation too, because because we already said it, you're not going to get those type of calls in the playoffs. All right.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't a big deal in that one. As Tibbs says, like, I agree with him. Like, it's a one-time incident. Everyone has a bad day once in a while. I'm not too upset about it, but it's something that I understand if people are looking out for. You're looking out for in the playoffs. Is he going to get unhinged like that again? I understand that.
Yeah, that is correct. And this was the actual quote from Randle on the conversation that he had with Johnny Bryant. This was the quote here. He says he was talking about the year before and said something like, if you were your teammates and so you acted the way you did sometimes with body language showing frustration, would you want to be your teammate? Randle set up Bryant, and I said no. So I had to look myself in the mirror and take accountability and get better and learn from it. So, like I said, you give him credit for having that type of self-awareness and trying to come back as a better player, and he has. He has.
Yeah.
He made an all-star team again, and he's having a great season for the Knicks and a big factor. So let's hope it continues. Again, play of the week, and see how they last without Brunson, and hopefully he can bounce back from to the playoffs from 2 years ago and come back stronger. But one of the things that was very interesting about him this year, which was the same as last year, is that his road numbers are pretty damn good, and they're actually better on the road than at home.
I wonder if there's a reason for that.
They're actually better on the road than at home. Julius averaging 27 points per game, 10 rebounds on 38% shooting from three, damn near 39. And at home, he's averaging 23 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 30% damn near from three. Big difference. Playing way better. And at 47.9, damn near 48% from the field on the road, almost 44% from the field at home. It's a big difference, man.
That is a huge difference.
Yeah.
He's shooting under 30% from 3 at home right now.
Right. It's very interesting.
That's crazy.
It's very interesting.
He's averaging 23 points at home too.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, very interesting. And let's see, will that be good things come playoff time? Time will tell. Another stat that Julius eclipsed after last night's win over the Lakers, the most 30-point road games in Knicks history. Julius Randle has now shot up to the top, tying Bernard King for 16. Bernard King doing it twice. Carmelo Anthony with 15. A lot of debate who's better, Carmelo, Randle, and Patrick Ewing with 15. So Julius shooting to the top, and will soon be number one on that list, or sole owner of number one on that list. The most 30-point games on the road, bro.
Awesome for Julius, man. Awesome for Julius. But what's with the disrespect for Melo?
I don't like it.
What are we doing, man?
I don't like it, man.
The dude came into the league his first year. The Nuggets went to the playoffs.
I don't like it, man.
It is crazy.
Why can't we just enjoy both? Why can't we just say, you know what, Julius is having a great year. Melo also had some good times here. I don't understand.
Because CP, it's like the LeBron and Jordan debate.
Yeah.
People just need to be proven right that one player was better than the other.
Right.
That we'll never see, even though they overlap, we'll never see them play against each other in their peaks.
What do we gain by knocking my guy number 7? What do we gain from this? What do we gain? Neither guy's delivered a damn ring to New York. They both lose. How about that? I mean, the bar is so low here that we just look for anything to claim victory. Put it up in the rafters. You know that meme where you put everything in the rafters? This is another one.
Oh yeah.
This is another one. Throw this in the rafters.
I mean, look, the bar is, can you at least get to the second round like Melo did? That's it.
Yeah.
It ain't any further than that.
Yeah.
With the Knicks.
That's it.
Can you get to the second round?
That's it. I mean, but boy, oh boy, the idea now that, he's now eclipsed a top 75 NBA player, let's slow down a little bit.
One of the most elite scorers ever to come across the NBA. Scoring title.
Let's slow down.
Man has been recruited to play for Team USA numerous times. Gold medalist. First ballot Hall of Famer. Let's not disrespect the name of Carmelo Anthony, especially on this show.
Kevin Minnis, $5 super chat. Shout out to channel member Kevin Minnis. He says, comparing Julius to Melo is like comparing a flashlight to the sun. Salute number 7. Yeah, Kevin Minnis is not with it. I just don't see why we have to do that. Just enjoy both. If you enjoy Melo's time, you enjoy Melo's time. If you enjoy Julius's time, enjoy Julius's time. You win. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. So that was Julius's week. Now let's talk about Cam, because tomorrow.
Where's JD when you need him?
Where is JD? Well, he's going to be on Play-by-Play Live. So I hope everybody's tapping in.
But will he be wearing a Cam jersey underneath that hoodie?
That's the question.
That's the real question.
That is the $1 million question. Whose side will he be on? The Cam Reddish revenge game, the game that everybody has had circled on this West Coast trip, is here. It's finally here. And Cam spoke to the Daily News and ripped the Knicks. And he says this about his playing time under head coach Tom Thibodeau. It was tough, but it ain't even about basketball. It was all the politics, all the favoritism, ish like that. That's why I wasn't too worried. I can shoot a shot in New York. I feel like I had to make it, and I'm not the only person who felt that. Cam Reddish going in. Said it was political. Airing out Tibbs.
Throwing Obi under the bus.
Throwing Obi under the bus. Look, man. Obviously, there's politics in the sport. It's been that way. It's been that way since the beginning of time. Yes, there's politics in sports. There's politics in corporate America. There's politics in your family life. There's politics in politics, right? It comes with the territory of human relations and business. So I agree with that. I don't like how they handled the situation. He went from being a starter to being a rotation player to getting absolutely 0 minutes. But on the flip side, when they did that, they started winning. They started winning games without you, Cam. So did the Hawks. The on-off numbers, they were a better team with you not on the court. So, on one hand, where the Knicks are and in need of talent upgrades, and I've always felt like they should be trying to find lightning in a bottle. Diamond in the rough. I thought they should have been a little bit more patient with his development and give him a chance because he did flash some potential. But on the other hand, you have a head coach in Tom Thibodeau who had no patience for that because he's here to win games. He's here to add W's to his resume because if he doesn't, as he quoted, as he was, well, not he wasn't quoted, but as that quote came out from a quote-unquote friend in December, he thought he was going to get fired.
Right.
He thought he was going to get fired. So if that is true, then he had to stick to his guns, go with his type of players, and see where that goes. And it's worked out well.
Look, the whole Cam situation, like, it's tough because it would have been. This team was never meant for like a full on, like with Tibbs at the helm, even last season.
Correct.
You know, it was all about competing.
Correct.
So the thought about bringing Cam in, especially when Tibbs didn't agree with it, was wrong from the offset. That's why even I still blame the front office for that decision. It's a good idea if you're a team that's like, we're going to rebuild, we're going to play all the youth last season, we're not going to do, we're pivoting midway through so we can get a better lottery pick and see what we got on this team and do some talent evaluation. But if you know Tibbs, like Leon Rose has known for Tibbs for so long, you know this guy has an ingrained nature to constantly compete until the team is completely eliminated from playoff seeding. And in this case, the play-in. So if you know that, why even make the trade for Cam Reddish? That's my first question. That made no sense. Now, two, you talk about developing and all that type of stuff. This coach is not going to full on do a full development to see what Cam Reddish is. You either are ready to go like quickly or Grimes, or you're not. And we see that. That's how even with McBride, right? Even though that's a guy that he liked in the draft, he still was not committing to more than 10, 11 minutes. He was like, you're going to get some run here. Same thing with Obi. He doesn't believe in Obi defensively, right? Regardless of how I feel about the whole Obi situation, that's how he thinks. He is ingrained in that situation. If you're not the square peg to go through the square hole, he is not going to figure it out. You have to fit his system, what he sees every single day. Cam did not fit that from the get-go. All right. Cam is an offensive player, and he needs to be on a team that's going to give him time to figure out his game in the NBA. He did not have that opportunity at Duke because he had RJ and Zion there taking up most of the shots, most of the features, right?
Yep.
No one knew what Cam was only selected highly because of the talent, right? What he could be in the NBA. No one knew exactly how he would fit. You see Ja, it's like, oh, that guy, leader on a team, we're going to draft him. Boom. Zion, leader of a team. We can build around him. Boom. Cam, there was still a little bit of an unknown what he could be. So he needed to go to a team that was ready for like a Houston Rockets, actually. Or what the Trailblazers are doing right now. A team that's like, we will play you 30 plus minutes to figure out your game to see what role you fit in the league.
Yeah.
It was not going to happen on the Knicks. So if you know that about Tibbs and what the situation is here, I don't know why you do that trade.
It was a silly trade. And it just spoke to the misalignment between the front office and the coach. Now Cam goes to Portland. Chauncey's giving him a chance. He started 11 games for them, averaging 13.6 points per game, 36% from downtown, Effective field goal percentage of 56%, the highest of his career. 84 from the charity stripe, 2 dimes, damn near 3 dimes, a steal. Looks like he's playing well.
Yeah, man. Good for Cam. Like I want to see him succeed. I want to see him have these opportunities. It just wasn't going to happen on the Knicks, man. I just also didn't like how it was so like it closed the door. You know, you talked about the politics. We know about that, man. We know it happens everywhere. But the fact that he still couldn't get minutes, even in games where we needed him, or could he not even needed him, but could he used him because you're playing the Toronto Raptors and he's got the length and versatility. That I don't like. That is something for Tibbs that I just do not like because, once again, it's why I'm even a little bit concerned. Like, how are things going to unfold in the playoffs? Because, you know, some coaches are able to say, you know what, I see this player, he doesn't really fit what I want to do on this team, but I could be a little bit creative and figure out how to get him some minutes in there. Like, whether it be Popovich, whether it be Kerr, you know, even Phil Jackson back in the day when he was coaching the Lakers and the Bulls. Like, it's just like some way to be innovative, and I just don't see that here with Tibbs. So that's a big concern moving forward. But you know what? Even with like young guys, like I did the pod with who was it? Sam Esfandiari for the Light Years pod, right? And he talked about the difficulties of getting a young guy in to a championship winning roster on the Warriors, right? It's just a hard balance. And even though the Knicks are not a championship winning roster, they're still looking to compete. So figuring out how to get Cam in that and tell him, hey, you're going to fit this role to get some minutes, it's difficult for players. That's why you see Moody, Wiseman, you know, Kuminga. They're having difficulty right now figuring out where they belong in this league as well.
That is a big fact. Now, to the flip side of that, the Knicks did trade Cam Reddish for the prototypical, the quintessential Tom Thibodeau player, and his name was Josh Hart, man. And we started off the show a little bit touching on Josh Hart and his impact on this team, what he's been able to do for this squad as a member of the Knicks. And one of the things that rings off the bell, man, is 3-point shooting has come around tremendously, man. Shooting 58% from 3. Now, he's only taken about 2 attempts since he's been here, but nevertheless, he's been shooting the ball better since coming to the Knicks. 60% from the field overall. His points per game is up a little bit. Rebounding numbers a little bit down, but overall, man, he's been a big spark for this Knicks team. And an interesting article that our guy Fred Katz at The Athletic, friend of the program, had wrote about Josh Hart last week. And it was basically around his ability to be a one-man fast break, man. And you see it with your eyes, but by the numbers, according to Fred Katz, Hart averages a fiery 1.43 points per coast-to-coast play, according to Second Spectrum. And he said, think about it like this. That's nearly the same efficiency as when an average free throw shooter goes to the line for 2 shots. It's good enough for 4th in the NBA among qualifying 79 players. And these are the names. It's Kevin Durant, Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Josh Hart, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Nikola Jokic. One-man fast break, man. And for a team like the Knicks, who, you know, efficiency from the field is going to be up and down, right? They're not a highly efficient team. They're going to have their lulls. If you can sneak out and get transition buckets, get easy buckets out on the run where the defense is not set, that's just a huge plus. It's a huge plus. And he's given them a big lift in that regard. I think the Knicks had improved in transition over the course of the season, but since he's been here, they've been even better. Mm-hmm. They've been even better. If you look at his on-off stats, you take a look at his on-off stats in terms of transition. He's in the 78th percentile. He's in the 99th percentile with the Knicks in terms of points per possession transition. Plus 11.3. He's in the 99th percentile. In all transition, He's in the 78th percentile in points plus per possession. And then off of steals, he's in the 96th percentile off of steals in transition, man.
Just a heads-up player.
Yeah.
You know, when you have somebody that just can attack and transition like that and bend the defense, get you some easy points, that's a game changer, man. We're talking, especially in like the playoffs when you're talking about it's going to be half court for most of the time. If he can get you like 2, 4, 6 points, that could be the tipping point for a game.
Yeah.
You know? And then you got to think about the impact that has on a defense. It could be deflating when you see someone just beat you out in transition. It gets tiring having to run back on defense just to catch up to stop them. So the impact in that way is just awesome. It's just awesome to have Josh Hart on the team because the Knicks have struggled without Derrick Rose pushing that ball out in transition. And to have somebody come in and help, you know, someone like Obi Toppin, you know, he's constantly looking for Obi out in transition because that's where Obi thrives. Mm-hmm. To have somebody like that to help the second unit, that's immense because the second unit outside of Quickly and Hart, and even with RJ in there, it's not necessarily the most efficient and high scoring offense that we've been accustomed to when Derrick Rose at the helm. So Hart's just been impactful on that side of the ball.
Yeah. Ignacio Lobregat was asking, what's the minutes per game difference for Hart between Portland and the Knicks? 33.4 minutes per game with the Blazers and 29 with the Knicks.
Yeah, as you said, he is not getting – Tibbs is like, you are on, you are not leaving.
He's not coming out of that game.
Yeah, because you know why? I need someone that can play defense and push the pace.
Yeah, he's not coming out that game. I can tell you, he's a lock for closing lineups in the playoffs.
Oh, that's not even a question.
He's a lock.
It's not even a question. I'd even throw Quickly up there too, man.
It could. I think that all depends on how RJ's playing.
If you're getting the Cavs, I think it's going to happen just because you think about that small backcourt that everyone's like, oh, what if the small backcourt of Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson? That would have happened. Mm-hmm. You know, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. It's a good matchup for Quick and Brunson.
Yeah.
So if that is the matchup, pencil it in there. Even like, I don't know, man. I think Tibbs needs another guy who can handle the rock on the court in the crunch time. Because as we saw, especially I think it was the second time the Knicks played Boston, they're going to trap Brunson.
Yes.
They know he's going to be the primary initiator. So if you have Quickly out there, he can at least bring the ball up as well. That's why I feel like Hart and Quickly, man. I mean, Tibbs has been doing it now. I think there's a reason why he's doing that. He's like, yo, you get ready. This is what we're about to see, man, because we're going to need Quickly out there just in case and to get Brunson some open shots. And Hart, you know, RJ's been, I'll give RJ some credit. His defense has slightly improved the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But it is nowhere near what Josh Hart does.
He's been a great addition. Great addition to this team. And let's see how he continues to impact this team, man, because you know, he just do a little bit of everything from the rebounds to pushing the transition, to just playing tough, playing physical, playing smart. He's been great. Really good signing. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. KFTV Knicks Weekly, presented by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Rest in peace to Felton Spencer, Al, the former Knick, man. Felton Spencer passing away today.
So young.
At the age of 55, man. Rest in peace to Felton Spencer. I saw the news today. Played a couple of years for the Knicks, early 2000s, couple seasons. Played for a number of teams, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody had a Felton Spencer basketball card back in the day. He was one of those guys, man. Whether it was hoops, flare, ultra, upper deck, they stuffed those packs with Felton Spencer cards, boy. They had a couple of those. You know,
you need any more?
Yeah, you got a couple of those, man. You know, you're in there, you're looking for Ewings, you're looking for Jordans. You know, you get a Felton Spencer, you're like, oh man, damn, not tonight.
That's where you put in. That's where you, no disrespect, but that's where you put the card in the spoke.
Yeah, right. You put it in the back of the book. The front of the book is for your superstars and your Knicks. Yeah. I used to have like a full page of Knicks, full page of Dream Team. Like I had the Skybox collection for the Dream Team. That might have been a little bit before your time. Those were exclusives. Might have been a little bit before your time. But Skybox made the Dream Team special edition cards. So those were collector's editions. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ignacio says, do I still have my basketball cards? I do. I still got mine. I definitely still got mine. And then my friend's mom, one of my friends that had passed away a long time ago, rest in peace to him. She gave me his, so I got his too. So I got some joints, man.
All right.
Yeah, I got some joints, man.
I started off with baseball, stopped there.
Yeah.
Because then Pokemon came around, and that was my demographic at that age. So.
Yeah, I was out of the game by then. I was done. But back in my day, we used to.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day, we used to.
Back when my back didn't hurt.
Yeah, you used to get the cards, and then you would get the latest edition of the Beckett. You see the Becketts were before your time. You don't remember the Becketts, but the Becketts they were basketball magazines, but in the back. It was like a stock table. So in the back, they would tell you what your cards were worth.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's none of these NFTs and all this minted, all this stuff. No. You're doing it old school. You're going in the back of the book. I got the Jordan Flair Ultra from 97 with the card number, and then they tell you, all right, your joint's worth $2.50. And maybe it went up the next month. You got to check. You got to check each month to know what you're dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that was the same thing with Pokemon cards. I mean, you collect them, and then when you get to a certain age, if you have a certain edition, like I have all 151, the originals, they start to worth something.
There you go.
There
you go. Elia remembers the Beckett, man. Somebody fill me in the chat, man. Somebody testify in the chat. Don't let me out to be the only old geezer in here, man. Who remembers that? The Beckett, you go to the back of the Beckett, you check your card, you see how much you're dealing with,
CP licking his thumb, turning the page.
With my reading glasses on at 16, Yeah, man, those are the days, man. Those were the days. Anyway, we went from saying rest in peace to Felton Spencer again to a trading card conversation. But, rest in peace to him, man. Rest in peace. What else we got here? Ja Morant. I mean, if you want to touch on the Ja thing, so it was announced today. Well, the rumor was when the incident with Ja Morant first happened, and they said, okay, he's out for 2 games. He's sitting himself out for 2 games. Mm-hmm. But there was always rumblings like, well, this thing could stretch out longer.
Yeah.
Depending on a police investigation, FBI investigation, league investigation, so on and so forth. So it went from those 2 games. Then they stretched it out for more games. Now the news is that they sent him to Florida for rehab.
Yeah.
What kind of rehab is this? I don't know. I haven't read up on it. I don't know if you have any more information on it.
Nope.
But they've sent Ja to rehab. And the timetable, he's out indefinitely. No timetable for return. So there that is. Terrible lack of judgment. And that's all it is, man. Young people, everybody makes their mistakes, especially when you're young and dumb and, you make your mistakes. But he's just got to be better than that. Here we are. You got 12 games left in the season. You're the star player of your team, fighting for position in the West, a dog fight in the West. And you're out there doing dumb stuff. Playoffs right around the corner. You just can't do that, man. It's bad judgment. And, there was some debates on I didn't like how the discourse was going. Stephen A. and even Fat Joe was going in on his pops, like his pops wasn't doing this and that. Like you don't know what this man's father is talking to him about. You know what I mean? And the guidance that he's providing. Just because he's doing stuff like that doesn't mean he's not getting guidance. When we were all young and dumb, our parents would tell us everything in the book.
Oh my God!
To stay away.
They tell you not to do this, and you still go do it.
It don't mean we're gonna listen. So I didn't like how people were throwing his father under the bus just because he's showing up to games courtside with shades on supporting his kid. I didn't like that. That was way too much judgment on somebody that we don't know. You know what I mean? All I can say from the outside looking in, I think it's safe to say that it was just bad judgment. You gotta move differently. You gotta think differently. And it's not about, there was other conversations in the debate about, well, what's the big deal? It's a legal gun. He's in a state. He can carry the weapon, blah, blah, blah. It's not even about that. It has nothing to do if the gun was real, fake, legal, not legal to have. It's bad judgment. The NBA is an image business. And if you tarnish the image, you tarnish the money, they're going to sit you down. Look at the history of the league. The 70s, they had the coke issue, right? Yeah, Jordan with the gambling. Now, whether you want to believe in that conspiracy that he dipped off after his, the thing with the father, that's up to you. If you want to put the tinfoil hat on, that's up to you. They had the dress code with David Stern. The history that there's already been precedent. And when you mess around with the image, and you got Adam Silver, the commissioner, and you're showing one of your star players of the league, you're going to market that star player to the league globally, to your fans globally, and your star players out there waving a gun in the strip club, they're going to sit him down, man. Now you're messing with the money. It's just bad judgment, bro. It was bad judgment by him, bro.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm happy that he's seeking some sort of counseling just to get over the stress that he's dealing with. And that's what was reported in Woj's article today. He said Morant has been seeking assistance for what he described in the statement as a need to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being. And so when I see that, we don't know what it's like to get that type of money. You know what I mean? And then at 20, what was he, like 22 years old?
Yeah.
You're 22 years old. You're making that much money. You're now looked at as a provider for your family and maybe some of your friends, depending on the relationships. And that's stressful, man. So I don't know what he's going through. Hopefully he can take this time to get his mental right so that way he can perform at a high level and continue to provide for his family and friends and so forth. But the thing is, man, it's not the recent issue with the gun. It's the fact that he's been tied to a lot of incidents so far that have been reported. And when your name keeps coming up that much, and then you start to flash a gun and all these other things, you're starting to give off that image like you are doing these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't need that. Okay. And as you said, you're young, everyone makes mistakes. You can have a parent, a friend saying, yo, don't do this, and you still do that. So it's difficult, man. It's a difficult situation. You never want to see this to a young guy who's in an opportunity that many people would die for. You know what I mean? Yeah. Many people would love this opportunity to go play in the NBA, be on the world's largest stage, sell jerseys, be a role model. And that's the biggest thing, is that you're a role model for children as well. And young people are going to be looking up to you, especially in this day and age where everyone's like on YouTube, Googling your name, looking up highlights, and he is a highlight king. He will be searched endlessly. And so when news comes out about this, it's what image are you also sending to the youth, right? To the people who are going to be the next, who are going to be following in your footsteps, or even people who are just like everyday lives, like, yo, if this guy's doing it, I want to do it too. So that's the thing, as being a professional, especially a professional athlete, you got to take these things seriously. But hopefully that he gets it all together, man. Yeah. Hopefully he can turn this thing around, stay locked in, and continue to provide.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully, man. We've seen it happen to the best of them at a young age. I remember AI's incident back at Hampton when he got locked up at the bowling alley brawl and all of that. Like, these things happen, man, especially when you're young, but you just don't want to see a talented player throw his whole career away like that. So hopefully he bounces back, because I'm getting tired of hearing from Dillon Brooks. I'm getting tired of hearing from Dillon Brooks. My man really thinks he's real life Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'm like, bro, like, your team might not even come out the West. There's a good chance you don't come out the West. And with 10 games left, 12 games left in the season, My guy's just chomping at the bits at everybody. I don't like this guy. I don't like him. We don't need Melo. We don't need this guy.
More Melo hate. I don't get it.
More Melo hate. More Melo hate.
What is going on here? Dillon Brooks came. You should not even be talking about Melo like that.
Right. Oh,
Melo was still shooting efficiently on the Lakers last season. What are we doing?
It's crazy, man. This land is just ridiculous.
Dillon Brooks couldn't even shoot what Melo was doing at age 37.
Right.
All right. Like, relax. Know your lane. Crazy, okay. Crazy. It's even funny. I love what Draymond did.
Yeah.
Because for a guy who's talking, like, I love, and don't get me wrong about this, I love that we're starting to see like Luka and Devin Booker go at it. I like that there's some rivalry between the Pelicans and the Suns. Like, we need that in the NBA. It's a little too chummy around this league where everyone's like, yo, let me get your jersey, man. Yo, let's dap it up. I'll see you after the game and whatnot. Let's go get some drinks. We need some animosity. Okay. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. All right.
I definitely feel you on that, man.
But you got to know your lane.
Yeah.
You have not even gone to a Western Conference final.
He's bugging.
All right. Not even that.
He's
and now you want to talk, especially when you talk to like the Warriors, man. Especially when you're chipping at they just won the chip. They took you out and won the chip. Like, and the fact that Draymond's like, yo, I got 4 rings, defensive player for the year, you know, Team USA, like sought after, like. Draymond's defensive intelligence is just on another level. Like, know who you're picking on against, all right? Yeah. Stay at your level, and then when you get to the Western Conference, maybe you get to an NBA Finals, and if you win one, then you can start talking. Being that type of talk. Like, you can draw, you can do all that type of stuff, but that level, that's just ridiculous.
All right, let's go to Ari on the Discord. Ari, let's go.
What's up, CP? What up, Alex?
How you feeling, bro?
What up?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Listen, a lot of things to talk about, but I guess I'll stick to the basics. So, Julius Randle, man, I want to talk Randle, right? So here's my concern with Randle, right? Obviously, I called in after the Miami game, and I took the public L on Julius Randle. I just want to clarify that I'm taking the public L.
Yeah, you did. You did lead the apology tour, man. That was started. Yeah, was started by you. We do have it on tape. We did put that out there on social media. You were there. You were on tape, bro.
Yeah, I was on tape saying that I never thought he would get to this COVID level of play again. Yes. That's what I'm taking the L on. I'm not taking the L on Julius Randle overall because, like you guys were mentioning, all right. And here's the thing, yes, he had one bad game. He had one blow up or whatever where he lost his mental, his mental, and he freaked out. But that's because he's been playing so well. The problem with Julius Randle is once he misses 3 shots in a row, his mental goes from like the top, it crashes harder than Silicon Valley Bank, bro. It's unbelievable how fast this guy's mental breaks down once things don't go his way. And my concern is that in the playoffs, in these high-pressure late-game moments, when things aren't going to go his way all the time, because in the playoffs, you always face adversity, he's going to self-sabotage himself and just act like a child again. That's my concern. It has nothing to do with his talent, has nothing to do with his level of play. It has to do with his mental fortitude down the stretch of games. And I think you mentioned that before, CCP. So that's the concern with Randle, okay? Now, the other concern I have is if Josh Hart is a lock down the stretch, which I agree with you, he probably is, and obviously Brunson's a lock, and IQ Godson has to be a lock. Does that mean our 3rd overall pick, lottery pick, $100 million guy is now no longer closing basketball games?
I think it depends on how he's playing. I think it's gonna be a game-to-game, matchup-to-matchup situation, like Tibbs said. I take Tibbs at his word for that. I think it depends on how he's playing.
All right, well, we'll see, man. We'll see. I don't have any confidence that I feel like if it's a meritocracy, like we say it is, I feel like Emmanuel Quickly's earned the right to get those minutes at least in the beginning. And Josh Hart's been playing well too, so I think he deserves. I think in the beginning they deserve the right to close in the beginning until RJ Barrett plays up to the level that the other two have played up to. Which takes me to my final thing. My last concern is that, we're not going to trade a first-round pick to not sign Josh Hart. So we're going to sign him, right? We're going to extend him.
Yeah. According to our guy, Michael Scotto, Hoops Hype, Josh Hart does intend to decline his player option and re-sign with the Knicks.
Right. So let's say he's looking at somewhere around $15 million a year, right? So in that range, whatever. We're going to have to sign, quick. If you're going to pay RJ, you Quickly's going to want to get paid too. He's definitely deserved it. So let's pay Quickly. Let's pay Josh Hart, right? Now all of a sudden you're in the luxury tax for a team that is not going to have the playoff like if it doesn't get out of the first round, we now have the playoff revenue to justify that type of luxury tax bill, and then you still want to add pieces around it. So in my opinion, what I think is going to end up happening is that, I hate to say it, but RJ, Obi, Miles McBride, and a bunch of first-round picks are going to get traded, I think. But, you can't pay
Certainly
everyone.
Possible.
So
it's possible.
Well, what do you think happens in the offseason? Is my question to you. And are my concerns about Randle valid? And what do you think about RJ? And thank you for the call, guys.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. The concerns about Randle are valid. I think the people that do have concerns about Randle, it's about that. It's never about on court. It's never about talent. But I think a lot of the people in the Randle hive that get very sensitive when you criticize him think it's you're knocking his talent or you're hating the guy. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's about, can you trust him in a big spot? I said that after the Clippers game. It's simple and plain. There's nothing more to it. If you watched that Lakers game last night. Now, I was watching JD on the play-by-play, but I was watching Breen and Van Gundy. If you listen to Jeff Van Gundy the whole entire night, he spoke for everybody that had concerns about Julius. He broke down the clutch stats, which were woeful. He broke down the crunch time play. What did Jeff Van Gundy said? He said, in these moments, you need to be smart, disciplined, intelligent basketball player. That is what the coach said, one of the best coaches in Knicks history. So if you want to say that Van Gundy's hating, then call Van Gundy a hater. But it's the same concerns. It's the same exact concerns. Simple and plain. Can't put it out there any more clear.
Yeah, even when you think about, even when the discussion is about trading Randle last offseason, it's right. It goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. Can you trust his mental coming into the season? Is he going to be a good teammate based on what we saw last season? These are all valid concerns. Now he's been a better teammate, right? He's regular season been performing like he did 2 seasons ago. The last thing, performing in the playoffs. But every time we talked about it, we never knocked his talent.
No.
We always said, this guy's good, but.
Right.
It's always the but.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, well, everyone's forgetting the first sentence, like, yo, this guy's good. Maybe if you put him on a different team. Maybe you don't have him as the number 1 option, which he's not on this team anymore.
Right.
He's not.
Good things
it's
happen.
Brunson.
Good
All right.
Good things
and
happen.
going back to the Michael Scotto interview with Ian Begley, right? Even Ian Begley tagged in there, like, he thinks everyone's on the table except for Brunson, and currently not Julius because of how he's playing right now. Let that be an indication on whose team this is, all right?
Yeah.
Brunson, all right?
Yeah.
Number 1 option, there you go.
And in terms of, what moves to make in the offseason, it's hard to predict. It's hard to say, but obviously after the playoffs, they're going to evaluate things and see, right? Like if they were it's hard to even say, but obviously they're going to look to continue to improve. They brought Hart in here. You figure they're going to re-sign quickly. Yes, they will have trade pieces. That Dallas pick is looking better and better by the day. Dallas just lost tonight against Memphis. They're now 1 game under 500. No Kyrie, no Luka. It's not clear on when either one of those guys are coming back. That pick right now, which is top 10 protected, is at number 15. You could have a late lottery pick coming out of this thing and still make the playoffs and have a good season.
Yeah, so all we need is the Wizards somehow to make the playoffs as the 8th seed. Then things will really be cooking, honestly.
So, there's a lot that could play into the Knicks' favor in the offseason. It's very hard to predict, but you got to think that some of these young guys will continue to be evaluated with picks and see if they can upgrade somehow, some way. That's the only way this team is going to get better and have a legit shot at winning. It's not going to be growing everything organically with every single play on this team. No, they don't have time for that.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, depending on how this team goes, like if this team gets a first-round exit, they're looking to make a move, like instantly. I think they'll look to make a move and say, this offseason, we got to upgrade here because we need to take that next level. We cannot just have a first-round exit. Mm-hmm. If they make the second round, I think you can argue the fact that you can say one more year with this team to see what it looks like. Because depending on how far they go, you could be like, well, if we have another year of development like we did this season, maybe Grimes, RJ, quickly, one of those guys takes another step forward. I think you can sell yourself on that going into this offseason rather than first-round exit and just being like, well, we know where the weak link is, right? Mm-hmm. And not saying it's going to be RJ, not saying it's going to be Julius, but after these playoffs will be telling to the front office what direction they need to go this offseason. And you know what? You got to look around the rest of the league because let's say Philly doesn't wow anybody. Does Joel ask to be out? You know what I mean? You still got those Harden rumors saying that he wants to go back to Houston. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's another thing. You know, you and JD talked about all the wings on last night's show. So those are very realistic options too. I'm not so, although I will say I'm not so out on the Mikal Bridges thing, even though he's a net, because that interview with Carton and Evan, where Dolan said that he likes Joe Tsai, like he's a nice guy during that whole interview. I feel like that type of relationship may work out if New York is willing to ante up some picks and stuff.
Now they got to pony up for the guy that they should have drafted to begin with.
I mean, man, that's how it usually works, right?
For the guy that was the easiest pick in the draft that year, and for somehow they made it hard. But that's the Knicks. D-Block 1755. Go ahead and unmute your mic. D-Block 1755. Going once?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. How you doing, bro? Welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. CP, Alex, you're doing a great job. Mm-hmm. Alex, I agree with a whole lot of things what you said. Mm-hmm. And I just want to speak quickly on the Cam Reddish. To me, they say Tibbs in the front office click. For us to make that trade and give up a first-round pick and not use them, that's the part that irks my nerves. Because at least give the kid a chance. Mm-hmm. He never got the chance, but that's over and done with. Mm-hmm. Let's go to last night game. Mm-hmm. Tibbs. I always listen to Tibbs post game. Mm-hmm. Always with this, I got to see the tape. Mm-hmm. I don't trust Tibbs. And it's going to be a shame because I do believe we are going to make the playoff. But I don't trust him because he never makes in-game adjustments. And you see it all throughout the year. And the only reason we won that game, and I'm glad we won the game, but it's to 2 points. And this is a fact. It's not made up. The fact is because of the clock, not having enough time for the Lakers, and them missing shots. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I believe if it was more time, we'd have probably lost that game. It just irks my nerves that Tibbs do not make in-game adjustments. He's running our players into the ground. We're not getting the proper rest. And let me ask you both of you something. Mm-hmm. What y'all think of Tibbs? What y'all rate Tibbs?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tibbs is cool. I think he's all right. Look, as long as the players are buying into him, he's gonna be here, man. I can't we can't just harp and say, well, we need a new coach. He's as locked in with Leon Rose as anybody.
Well, when I say what you think of him, he's supposed to be a defensive specialist. Right? It's safe to say that because he's definitely not an offensive coach. When I see this staff and I see how our players play, because you know what, you truly see when Brunson is out, you can see the deficiency in this team.
Yeah, but that's talent though, isn't it?
Say again?
That's a talent thing, isn't it?
It is a talent thing. But what I want you to see, the point I'm trying to make is, when you tell me over and over, why is Randle handling the ball at crucial times in the game? Mm-hmm. That irks my. You cannot tell me. And anybody, that's like even what's his name from MSG's had the nerve to say, Randle's a tremendous passer. Stop playing. Stop lying. Randle is not a great pass. He's a terrible passer. He does these jump passes. You see him get tight. RJ has tunnel vision. He played a decent game last night. Well, we got to call it what we call it. And you know what hurt me? Because I watch basketball. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, but I also watch all the other games. And let me ask you something, too. I really truly believe we have a decent squad. But I want to say these three, and you tell me what you think. I think to get us to pass the second and maybe to a championship, we are 3 players away. We need another guard that's an extension of Brunson.
Right.
We need a wing player, and we need an all-star. I believe if we got those 3 components to add what we have and just do a little tweaking here, we be ready to roll.
Right, but this is exactly why, going back to your Tibbs question, this is why, like, I'm indifferent on Tibbs, man. Because this is still a team that needs, like, 1 or 2 more pieces to be a legitimate team. Then I could truly evaluate who Tibbs is.
And you are right, because truth be told, Randle is not even a first option. He's more of a third option. And that's why we need to tweak. But I don't trust Tibbs. Like, I want to see, and I'm so glad what you say. I'm watching, because I'm watching Dallas and I'm watching Wizard picks, and I'm trusting you. I believe we're gonna make the playoff, and I believe we're gonna get a good pick. And I hope they do not screw this up, because I believe we can get a legitimate wing. I like Keegan Murray's twin brother, and there's a couple of other players because I've been watching. I just hope we do not screw this up. But in the process of we doing all this, I just don't know if Tibbs is that. I just don't think he's that guy. He'll get us to a certain point, so I want to give him his credit.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's gonna take us over that next level. I just don't understand.
My point is, and appreciate the call. My point is, it's hard to know that if you don't have all the talent. It's hard to know that if you don't have a stacked roster, or a roster that you feel like can legitimately compete. If you're trying to tell me that if we got another coach in here that we can legitimately compete, I don't think so. That's why I'm indifferent on Tibbs. He's about to take them to the playoffs for the second time in 3 years. The offense it's still a top 10 offense. Whether or not it's not efficient, it's effective. It's still a top 10 offense in the league. Defensively, they needed some work for a defensive coach. But is that scheme? Is that personnel? Look at what Mike Brown and the Kings are doing. Mike Brown, a defensive coach, has the best offense in the league. How do you explain that?
James Ham was saying that he cries because of how bad that defense is.
Right.
But
how do you explain that?
I mean, do you think that? All right, let me ask you this question: how far is the Kings roster from the Knicks roster?
I don't think they're that much better. If at all, I think they're pretty close.
Okay.
I don't think they're that much better.
So with that, I think the Knicks have a decent enough roster where you could start evaluating Tibbs on how he coaches night to night on an in-game basis. Like, now for me, like, look, I was right there with you. You don't fire Tibbs last season. I was 100% with you. If I had to give him a grade, probably give him a B+ because of all the things that he's done. Talk about development, IQ, Grimes. Look, we're starting to see McBride. We're starting to get all the young guys we want to see get minutes.
Right.
You're talking about taking this team to 2 playoffs in 3 seasons. Talk about building a culture, a foundation. Right. You're getting Julius Randle, where, kudos to Julius Randle for doing all the work that he has to do.
Right.
But
people want to say that
Julius.
IQ developed himself, or that Julius is playing this way because it's Julius, or that Grimes developed himself. I mean, the coach has to get some credit here.
Yeah, no, you got to give the coach some credit. I mean, look, even quickly, he's like, look, you're not playing for Tibbs, you don't play defense. And look at IQ's defense. Now we're like, yo, 2-way player. That's because of the culture that's been set. So, like, for all those things, I give Tibbs a B+. But I will say this. His offense and the in-game adjustment, like, the caller's not wrong with that.
No, he's absolutely right on that.
And I do have concerns, because when I start seeing Julius Randle being the guy to handle the rock, bringing the ball up in the fourth quarter, when it should be Emmanuel Quickley should be bringing that rock up, let Julius go get to where his spots are, go feed Julius, and let that run. Instead, we have to see Julius bring it up. He's going to start trying to back somebody down from the three-point line, turn his back around, and then it's a turnover waiting to happen. Like, stuff like that. As a head coach, that's where you hold your team accountable and make those in-game adjustments. Like, yo, we got to get away from this. Julius, you are now at break glass in case of emergency if they are trapping Emmanuel Quickley, because we need somebody else to bring the rock up.
Right.
We should not have Julius Randle doing that. And so I understand that concern 100%. I think, look, for every team, you need somebody to set the foundation, to come in and do all that legwork, and then it goes to another guy. We've gone through this conversation numerous times. Like, I think there is a ceiling for Tibbs. I don't know if we're there yet, but there definitely is a ceiling for Tibbs, and I'm definitely concerned.
Yeah, there is.
How this goes in the playoffs.
There is, and I questioned whether or not he was going to last this season based on some of the terrible losses that they had. But they've bounced back. They bounce back strong. They've already surpassed last year's win total. They have a top 10 offense in the league. He is willing to push them to shoot more threes. He pushed Randle to shoot more threes, take less twos. That is an adjustment. That is development. He wants the team to shoot more threes. If they could make him, they'd make him look like a genius. But you got a lot of bricklayers.
For a stretch, they did, man.
For a stretch, they did. But you also have some bricklayers out there that aren't making shots. Like, to me, it's a player's play type of thing. I'm always going to be that guy. So I'm indifferent on Tibbs. Yes, in-game adjustments, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But when you look at some of the young players, the steps that they've taken, the fact that this team is about to make the playoffs for 2 out of 3 years, there's some good things that have come with Tibbs. I don't see how we could discredit him for that.
I think you could just look at the flaws of like whether it's the utilization of Obi, trying to get him going to more offensive creativity. I mean, look, you watch that Kings game, right? And I'm like, yo, why can't we have multiple actions going on in a set? It's either pick or roll or bust sometimes.
Yeah.
You watch the Kings, they're doing a DHO. You have somebody setting a screen off ball, and you have someone cutting baseline to get open on the three. I'm like, I don't see that on this team.
No, we don't have that. We do not have.
But that is creativity, my man. That is the type of stuff that takes you from like, it goes for the play. Like what makes a good to a great. It's the same thing for a coach. Good to great is like, all right, we know the strength. And even sometimes defensively, it's just like, we're going to allow drop coverage the entire time. Let guys just shoot threes. Like, where's that adjustment? You know what I mean? Look, man, you play the Celtics, like, stop. Like, I'm not saying he did that recently. They've been closing out. They've been playing up high. They've been doing all that stuff. But there's stuff like that where I'm like, as a head coach, you have to know how to get everybody involved too. Because you're going to need everybody. It goes back to the players being aggressive and how the coach has to have that recognition. Be like, you know what? We need to run a play for Grimes right now. Get him going because late in the game, we're going to need those clutch 3 points that we saw against Chicago. We haven't gotten that in a minute. But it doesn't help that he gets only 5 attempts per game. You can't just ask a guy saying off of 5 attempts, yo, fourth quarter, you good? Because you only hit 2 early in the first half. That's the stuff I'm like, yo, Tibbs, come on, man. I still give him B+ for where he's gotten us, but that's the next level. That's the next level stuff where I can say we can start critiquing him because, as you said, we're not that far from the Kings.
Listen, this is good. This is gonna be the age-old question about Tibbs. It's never going to end. It's never gonna end. It's never gonna end, man. How the Spurs looking right now?
I mean, they look like trash.
How the Spurs looking right now?
Yeah, look, we got talent. That's the difference.
Greg Popovich, this all-world coach, the greatest coach in NBA history, has the Spurs 14th in the West right now.
When Tibbs gets 5 as a head coach, let's bring up Pop.
Oh my God! Like it's just like we had Antonio Daniels on the show. It's just like AD said, man. Every fan base has a problem with the coach.
Oh,
every
sure.
fan base has a problem with the coach. I see Dexter Gilchrist, Mark Jackson would have had this team 3rd in the East.
All right.
Like, lay off the drugs, man. Like, we have a good team. The coach is not a miracle worker. He has his warts, he has his lumps, he has stuff that he needs to work on. No question. Got to hold Julius accountable. Take the ball out of his hands.
I love how you're like, hold on.
In-game adjustments.
Let it be known to the people in the chat and anybody listening right now. CP's like, you need talent. It's a talent-driven league.
Yeah.
Goes to Greg Popovich. What talent?
Yeah.
What talent's on that roster?
Listen.
How can we evaluate on that?
Listen, man.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it is a talent-driven league. It is. And the Knicks' talent is taking them. They got 40 wins so far, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. That's what I'm saying. We can evaluate Tibbs to see who he is. That's all I'm saying. And there's a level. There's just a level, man. We're seeing it. Also, the Spurs are tanking for Wembanyama, right? Once they get Wembanyama, Pop is going to be back in his bag and be like, yo, I got this. Don't worry.
Okay. if you say so. If you say so, man. Anyway, man. Great show. Well, let's get to it, man. Salute to all the callers. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Back at it tomorrow night for the Knicks versus the Blazers. Cam Reddish revenge game. Give me some predictions for this week, man. We got the Blazers. We got the
Nuggets.
We got the Blazers. We got the Nuggets. Give me your predictions for this week.
Man. Can we do the qualifier with Jalen Brunson? Because we don't know where. I mean, we know for Portland. I'm going to take the win against Portland. I'm going to say that we get that win. If he is back against Denver, I'll go 2-0. But if he's not, it's 1-1.
Okay. Hey, I'm going 1-1. I'm going 1-1. Right. I think a win tomorrow. Dame and Jeremy Grant are questionable tomorrow. And I think Denver's a loss on Saturday. So I'm going 1-1. What do you guys think in the chat, man? What do you guys think? What do you guys think, man?
You know what, CP?
Yeah.
I used that beard hedger.
Oh, you did? It was Manscaped. Yeah, how'd it work? How'd it work out for you, man?
First of all, if no one has ordered it yet, this is the best hedge. This is the best beard buzzer I've ever used in my life. Yeah. The one thing I love about it, I got it with me right now because I had to talk about it. The one thing that I really like is you keep one blade, right? You have one blade on top that you just slide right in. Mm-hmm. But there's a dial, man. So you got a dial right here to determine the lane. So you don't got to do anything. So as you see, it just keeps going up.
Okay.
And it keeps going down. So it's just simple. Simple, plain, easy to use. For guys that don't want to do that much, changing the clips and all that type of stuff.
There you go.
Not about that life. Make it simple.
All right, man. Let me salute some of the super chats that have come in. Boy, oh boy, man. These Knicks fans can never be happy. The guy just took this team 9-game winning streak, 120 points per game, the high-speed offense, and now he's terrible because they're in a little bit of a rut, man. Unbelievable. Listen, he's not Red Holtzman, but the idea that just Mark Jackson's gonna make this team.
Here we go.
Stop it, please. Stop it.
Jalen
Brunson came in here and got this team together.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That is a fact.
So wait a minute. We can have concerns about Randle. We can't have concerns about Tibbs?
I'm not saying that. But I'm not the idea that, he's just a problem with the team and this team is not going to go nowhere with Tibbs. That's just not the case. The coach is not a miracle worker, bro. It's of no coincidence that an upgrade in talent has this team better than last year and playing better than last year.
No doubt.
Correct.
No doubt. All I'm saying is that we can finally evaluate him with the talent. We don't need any more. If we have more talent, that'd be great, but I'm just saying.
All right. Time will tell, man. Time will tell. Salute to Nick. $5 super chat says the mellow disrespect. Classic example of being caught up in the moment. Jew is doing his thing, but he has a way to go before he gets to mellow status. Shout out to J Boogie. $10 super chat says, let's not forget this is a revenge game for Josh Hart. You didn't want to pay me my money. When I left, he was in the playoff hunt. Look at you now. I did this to you. Say goodnight to the bad guy. $5 super chat from Hoodies Vintage. Cam had to earn his minutes while Grimes was handed his. Honestly, who's better? Side note, Stern saved Jordan from being Pete Rose. Banned. Hashtag tinfoil 101. Shout out to Got You Open gifted a channel membership to, I forgot the name that they had there, but shout out to Got You Open for gifting a channel membership. And he says, CP, who had better one-liners, Bobby the Brain Heenan or Jim Cornette? Oh, the Weasel. The Weasel, man. Definitely. No question. Bobby the Brain Heenan was legendary. Jim Cornette was good. He was great. But Bobby the Brain Heenan was he was great, man. Because he had it was Bobby the Brain Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon. So as they were calling the commentary and the play-by-play, you always used to have that one guy that was almost kind of rooting for the bad guy in a way, because then the banter, the back and forth would be good. You know what I mean? The back and forth would be good. Yeah, man. Al, anything else before we wrap?
Nah, nothing, man. Just hope we have a good week for the Knicks.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it, bro.
Let's hope so, man. Anyway, have a good night, people. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Knicks versus